Hello, my name is Edmar Ruano, and my current event topic is the Mitigation Land Bank. Now, a mitigation bank is a wetland, stream, or other aquatic resource area that has been restored, established, enhanced, or preserved for the purpose of providing compensation for unavoidable impacts to aquatic resources permitted under Section 404 of the Clean Water Act, which requires mitigation for the disturbance or destruction of wetland, stream, or endangered wildlife habitat. Mitigation banks are large-scale, ecosystem-oriented wetland restoration projects designed to provide sustainable ecological benefits in advance of an unavoidable adverse impacts on wetlands caused by human activity. A mitigation bank may be created when a government agency, corporation, nonprofit organization, or other entity undertakes these activities under a formal agreement with a regulatory agency. Mitigation banks have four distinct components. 1. The bank site. The physical acreage, restored, established, enhanced, or preserved. 2. The bank instrument. The formal agreement between the bank owners and regulators establishing liability, performance standards, management and monitoring requirements, and the terms of bank credit approval. 3. The Interagency Review Team, also known as the IRT, which provides regulatory review, approval, and oversight of the banks. And 4. The service area, the geographic area in which permitted impacts can be compensated for at a given bank. Mitigation banking helps to consolidate small, fragmented wetland mitigation projects into large contiguous sites, which will have much higher wildlife habitat values. The value of a bank is defined in compensatory mitigation credits. A banked instrument identifies the number of credits available for sale and requires the use of ecological assessment techniques to certify that these credits provide the required ecological functions. The bank's sponsor is solely responsible for meeting these standards, and the credit purchaser has no further mitigation liabilities or responsibilities once the sales transaction is complete. Credits are the units of exchange and are defined as the ecological value associated with 1 acre of a wetland or ecosystem and the linear distance of a stream functioning at the highest possible capacity within the surface area of the bank. Now, mitigation banks are a form of third-party compensatory mitigation, in which the responsibility for compensatory mitigation implementation and success is assumed by a party other than the permittee. This transfer of liability has been a very attractive feature for Section 404 permit holders, who would otherwise be responsible for the design, construction, monitoring, ecological success, and long-term protection of a site. Agencies supportive of mitigation banking include the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Environmental Protection Agency, Fish and Wildlife Service, National Resource Conservation Service, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. All of these recognize the potential benefits mitigation banking offers for streamlining the permit evaluation process and providing more effective mitigation for authorized impacts to wetlands. For example, larger consolidated wetland bank sites can provide greater function and ecological value as compared to small, isolated, on-site mitigation projects. Banks provide mitigation in advance of impacts, which is of a significant benefit to the environment. Banks also have a greater probability of success because of consolidation of professional and regulatory resources, in addition to the financial guarantees banks provide. Banks reduce the permit processing time, thereby increasing the effectiveness of the regulatory agencies. In fact, there is a current mitigation banking project going on in the Houston area. The Greens Bio Wetlands Mitigation Project is a 1,400 acre wetland project located in northeast Harris County under the Harris County Flood Control District. The bank project combines wetland creation, mitigation, and a natural stormwater runoff treatment in a unique and highly beneficial manner, according to the website. Currently, 2 phases of subdivisions have been completed, making up 200 of the 1,400 acre project, and the design calls for at least 6 more phases, which will provide for the restoration and preservation of the remaining 1,200 acres. The bank is located approximately 5 miles east-southeast of Bush Intercontinental Airport, adjacent to Beltway 8 at the confluence of Garner's and Green's Bayou. The current environmental benefits include higher quality compensation for unavoidable impacts to wetlands, offsets diminishing quantity of wetlands in Harris County, and improved habitat for plant and animal species. Benefits for water quality include groundwater recharge to local aquifers, a stormwater surge basin that optimizes ability to capture large volumes of runoff during major storm events, and enhanced water quality through innovative use of a created wetland system. Currently, the website boasts that the project has already provided a habitat for forested wetlands and aquatic vegetation, and has already seen increases in water-dependent wildlife and migratory waterfowl. However, despite such claims, no specific plant or animal species were discussed in the article. On March 31st, 2008, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency released a new rule clarifying how to provide compensatory mitigation for unavoidable impacts to the nation's wetlands and streams. Specifically, the Rule 1 emphasizes that the process of selecting a location for compensation sites should be driven by assessments of watershed needs and how specific wetland restoration and protection projects can best address those needs. 2. Requires measurable and enforceable ecological performance standards for all types of compensation so that projects' success can be evaluated. 3. Requires regular monitoring to document that compensation sites achieve ecological performance standards. 4. Clearly specifies the components of a complete compensation plan based on the principles of aquatic ecosystem science. And 5. Emphasizes the use of science-based assessment procedures to evaluate the extent of potential water resource impacts and the success of compensation measures. Now, despite these efforts to make a more uniform system of mitigation banking, environmentalists worried at the time that the policy would encourage wetland destruction and overall loss. Julie Sibbing, a wetlands expert at the National Wildlife Federation, said it is just going to be easier and cheaper, and the cheaper it is to mitigate, the more economic it is to buy land that has wetlands on it and destroy them. In a recent Yale article, mitigation banking has met criticism in response to mountaintop removal mining in Appalachia, which has obliterated or severely damaged more than 1 million acres of forest and buried more than 1,000 miles of streams. Scientists and environmental groups object to the Army Corps' approach to mitigation, the notion that you can make up for destroying one stream by building another one. The article argues that streams evolve in landscapes over the millennia and support complex webs of life that cannot be easily replaced, if at all. According to Margaret Palmer, a biology professor and stream specialist at the University of Maryland, stream creation is outside the realms of current science. There's no evidence you can do it. There's no evidence at this point in time that it is even feasible. Despite such criticisms, mitigation banking continues to gain momentum today. On March 28, 2012, Stafford, Virginia's first wetlands mitigation bank was approved, a 300-foot forested tract of farmland sitting along Potomac Creek. The owners of the farmland said, projects like this improve water quality and habitats. Particularly, this project will restore, enhance, and preserve approximately 30,100 feet of stream, Potomac Run, and 20 wetland acres. This will improve water quality in the county, reduce runoff, and improve forested habitat in the county. And on April 3, 2012, in West Virginia, mitigation banking has restored about 10,000 feet of streams, or just under 2 miles. The company in charge of the project has restored about 95 acres of wetlands in the state, and another 25 acres is ready to go. And because of their efforts, about 1,000 acres of endangered species habitat have been preserved. Mitigation banking has a number of advantages over traditional permittee-responsible compensatory mitigation because of the ability of mitigation banking programs to 1. Reduce uncertainty over whether the compensatory mitigation will be successful in offsetting project impacts. 2. Assemble and apply extensive financial resources, planning, and scientific expertise not always available to many permittee-responsible compensatory mitigation proposals. 2. They also reduce permit processing times and provide more cost-efficient and cost-effective compensatory mitigation opportunities. And 4. Enable the efficient use of limited agency resources in the review and compliance monitoring of compensatory mitigation projects because of consolidation.